Okay, today we're going to tie a Hare'e copper. It's a nymph I like to use. We're going to start off with the hook, 1929 Daiichi, size 12. We're going to put a 3.3 mil bead on here as well. So the Hare'e copper, I'm going to say it's pretty, if not very similar to a hare's ear. It might, in some people's world, call it a hare's ear, but down in New Zealand they call us a Hare'e copper. I tie it a little bit different. At the end, I had a little bit of a collar to it. But this is so this is my version of a Hare'e copper. Again, I start my thread at the 1/3, 2/3 point, winding my thread on. I used a 6/0 tan thread here. Again, you can use whatever color you like. A copper Brassie sized wire from Ultrawire. I like to try to get my wire underneath the bead at the front, just so it's neat and tidy. As well, I tie my wire on the far side of the hook from myself. I am right-handed. I have the camera in between myself and the fly, so you can see pretty much the exact same of what I see when I'm tying. Obviously, if you're left-handed, it is the opposite of this. So tying the wire the whole way down, I like to reposition my hook here, and I like to bring the body kind of down and around this bend a little bit farther. I think the normal, I just like the shape it gives to the fly. It gives a little natural curve to the shape of the nymph. We're going to use natural pheasant tail for the tailing material, about the length of the body for the length of the tail. Measure it out here. Again, your preference. You want to go a little bit longer, shorter, more, less. You want to tie it a heavily dressed fly or a lightly dressed fly. That's up to you. So tie the tail in here. Now I like using the excess fibers here to kind of build some bulk to my nymph. So I'm going to tie them in all the way back up, and then I'm actually going to fold it over and create a bit of a taper. Nymphs, natural nymphs are definitely they are thicker at the head than they are at the tail. So tie all the way up to the bead, and then I'm going to pull it back and go about halfway back down the hook. Like I said, I just want to create kind of a taper here, a little bit of bulk, more to the head end of the fly. Again, fold it over, tie it back in up to the bead, and one more time. You can do this step if you want. If you don't want to do this, you can attach your tail, clip off the fibers. You can tie the fibers into the bead once and then clip it off. It's up to you. I just like that this gives it a little bit more bulk at the head end of the fly. So wind our thread back to the tail. And we're going to add some dubbing here. I really like this hare's ear ice dubbing. It has both like kind of the natural hair mask as well as some flash in there. So we're going to pinch off a real small amount here. When you're applying dubbing, go in small batches. Don't try to put it all on at once. Get it nice and spread out. Try to get every fiber to wrap around your thread. If you need to add more, add more. Do it. Take your time adding your dubbing. It makes a difference. If you're trying to add too much all at once, it doesn't work. You'll get those dog legs when you start to wrap. So we're going to wrap this in, touching wraps all the way from the tail to the head. With that bulk already built in, that natural taper, it should just help this fly have a natural looking taper to it from a thin tail to a thicker head. So now I'm going to wrap my wire. So if you saw in the video, I wrapped my dubbing away from myself. I'm going to wrap my wire towards myself. That counter wrap just helps lock in your body. It just helps the durability of the fly. You can do it the opposite. In the pheasant tail video, I wrapped my fibers towards me and the wire away from me. I'm just doing the opposite in this video. It just, like I said, it just adds durability. I'm going to lock that wire down at the head, and then I'm just going to hold the thread tight here and just give the wire a spin, and it'll just wear through and come off. You don't have to cut it. So I'm going to put, like I said, I use the Hare's ice dub for the body. For this little collar I'm going to put on, I'm just using straight ice dub. You can use the same color if you want. This is a little bit of a contrasting color just so it kind of stands out more. So for this, I'm going to put a dubbing loop in. So you can see I'm just creating a loop, and it's just like when you start your thread. Right, you create the loop, and then it's just like you're restarting your thread to attach this on. Now I'm going to wrap it off to close the loop, just so when I spin it, it closes nicely. And this is a little bit tricky. I put something in here to hold it so it keeps them apart. It can spin, and then it's hard to find the opening because you need to get this ice dub nice and thinly into this loop, and it's a little bit tricky. Take some practice. As you can see, I kind of fumble my way through this, trying to get my finger back in and trying to get the dubbing in here. Like I said, it takes a bit of practice. It's a little bit of work, but once you get it in, you can kind of pull it tight, and then you can re-manipulate it. So I put my hackle pliers on the bottom, and then I put my dubbing spinning tool through the loop. I'm going to reposition this dubbing, get it a little bit better. Now that you have some tension on it, kind of the threads kind of hold it in there. And now you spin. I'm going to grab a toothbrush here, an old toothbrush. Don't use your toothbrush. I mean, you can if you really want to. I would recommend not using your wife's toothbrush. She will not be happy. So I'm going to brush it out a little bit, get those fibers standing up and out. And then a couple wraps here, like I said, for a collar. Tie it off. I'm going to pull this collar back. A couple more wraps just to lock it in place. Like I said in the previous video, I've been using the Loon UV, the Flow, as my head cement. I like it. It's nice and clean. I just feel it dries right away. You don't have to worry about it. So just put a little bit of there on your thread. You can see we're gonna whip finish. Trim our thread off nice and close. Give it a little flash with the UV light. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna brush this fly out now again with the toothbrush. This is just a great little fly. You can do any color combination you want. You want a hot spot on the front of that, you could probably do a fluorescent pink or orange color on there. Yeah, it's a great little fly. That there is the Hare'e copper. Thanks very much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.